All right, guys. So in this lesson, we are going to go Facebook advertising basics, right? Now, we are simply going to go over what the Facebook ad manager does, right? So with that being said, let's get right into it. So first of all, let me show you where the business manager is located. So we are in the Meta Business Suite, and when we go to all tools, this one, we are going to see recently used, right? If you don't find it within your recently used tab, then simply, go over here and you will, find your Facebook Ad Manager. But most certainly, you should find it within the recently used tab, right? Now, right here, we are in the Facebook Ad Manager. Now, the Facebook Ad Manager is a tool for creating and managing ads on Facebook and Instagram, right? As the name suggests. Now, it's where you set budget, choose your audience, and track ad performance. You basically track everything that's needed in order to be tracked, right? All your advertising needs, from simple to advanced, is handled over here, right? Beginners will find it easy to use, and advanced users will find it complex enough to, get all their needs met. And by the end of this lesson, you will understand its features and how to navigate them. So, with that said, let's get right into it. So, first of all, now, if you can have a look at this, you will already see the campaigns, ad sets, and ads, right? So in this interface or in this dashboard, you will simply see you can access everything, right? It's very, very simple. Now, with that being said, let's just hop in to create your first campaign, right? So what we're going to do is that in this dashboard, we're going to click on create, right? Now, first of all, the first thing we need to do is that we need to choose a campaign objective, right? So basically what we need to do, like this is very simple. Like you basically need to know what is your goal with this specific ad campaign, right? If it's awareness, which is, showing your ads to people who are most likely to remember them, or if you want to drive traffic, to your destination, like a website, or if it's just for engagement, for likes, or if you want to get new contact information, such as email addresses, phone numbers, names, addresses, and all this sort of stuff, right? Or, which is like a unique new features, app promotion. And the last one, very, very simple for sales, right? So let's just simply put in, let's say that we want to get more traffic to our website, right? So we're going to click continue, right? Now, if you're a beginner, I would simply select recommended settings because you don't want to be, when you're beginning, you just want to go with what's, best set up for you. And this definitely is, right? So we're going to click on continue, right? Now, if we're right here, right? Um, Now we're simply going to click on next, which is another step. And right here, we are going to create our ad sets, right? Now, for those who don't know what ad sets are essentially groups of ads that share the same settings for how, when, and where to run. So basically, when you create certain settings for one specific ad set, then underneath the Facebook, underneath the ad set, there is going to be group of ads, group of separate ads. However, if you create a setting for the ad set, it is going to automatically, no matter what you do, apply to all the remaining ads. Okay, so that's the power of ad sets. Now, for example, if you set the conversion location on a website, all the ads will automatically send your traffic to the website, right? It won't be possible to book calls. It won't be possible to, send them to messages. It's just good. Basically, all the settings you apply an ad set, it's going to apply to all your ads, right? Now, performance goal, which is very simple, right? So I would either go one of these two, like I wouldn't go with these other goals, but basically what you want to have, right, is either you want to maximize number of link clicks, right, which is essentially clicking on your link, or maximizing number of landing page views, which for those who don't know what landing page is, landing page is a standalone page that usually is here to either get your contact information or sell you some kind of course or some kind of service, right? So because we want, our website to be the objective, we are simply going to click on maximize number of link clicks. Now, cost per result goal. That's what you definitely need to do because essentially what you want to do, you want to, like I've said, when you have cost per result, you want to have some cost per, like you want your result, which is going to be clicking on the page, to cost you as much unless it's profitable, right? Like if one click on your website costs you like $10, then obviously like you're gonna go bankrupt, right? But like if one click on your website costs like 20 cents, then obviously it's very profitable, and you've got to research these metrics by yourself, right? The best way to do that, honestly, is to use ChatGPT, right? Like I use ChatGPT all the time with stats like this, with the market research, and I highly encourage you to do the same, right? For the daily budget, that's very, very simple. You're simply going to type in whatever your budget is. And for the start date, it's very simple. When you want your ads to start. Now, you also can select end date, which, is completely optional. If you want this ad, like if you have a big budget and if you're confident this ad is going to perform very well, then you can do that, right? Now, if not, you can send an end date, right? So you can select 30 days, for example, right? Um, so let me just this is in Czech crowns because I'm from Czech Republic. So let's just do like 10, right? Must be at least $1. So let's do 25. Budget scheduling, don't do that. That's not needed. Then for your locations, you don't need to do that right now. But what you should do is to click on more options right here. What you have, like if you have some kind of audiences are not going to work for your business, and like you've already tested that they don't work, you can exclude these custom audiences that you've saved, right? Remember when I was telling you to save custom audiences? That's exactly what I was telling you to do. But right here, you can use it for a different purpose, right? You can use it to exclude so that they don't target these audiences. Because if you already have data that show that, these audiences just don't work for your brand, then you can, use them and make them like exclude, right? Okay, right now we click next and we are at the ad level, right? Now you can create how many ads you want in there. However, you're just going to simply select super simple stuff. So first of all, you're gonna select your ad name, right? Very, very simple. You can call it however you want, right? So ads number one, right? Um, Now the identity, that's very important. Basically, this is where you pick the Facebook or Instagram page, which your ad will be associated with, right? So we can use, this one, for example, and then you can either, use Instagram account, which you can connect, or you can use Facebook page. It's very simple. If you've already connected your Instagram account, you can do that, right? Now, now the next thing, we have create ad, use existing post. Obviously, we're going to create ad, right? Now, the destination part is where they simply going to be sent to, right? So you're going to click website and then the URL, right? Now, you can then add additional, contact method if you want, a bigger opportunity or bigger chance of people connecting with you. And so like if it's relevant, which right now, wouldn't be relevant, right? Like if you're promoting a website, I don't feel like it's relevant to promote a call with you, right? If it's like a landing page that sells a service, then the call is a great idea. But for this case, just select none. Again, you've got to understand the context of it, right? Because if you don't understand the context, then it doesn't make sense. And like in this tutorial, I'm just showing you how to navigate through, right? Now, the next thing is your ad creative, right? And this is very, very important because essentially, what you can do, you can either select image ad or video ad. Now, if you select image, obviously going to have image, and then there's going to be a text, right? So if we are going to go over the, image ad, we are going to, first of all, set up the URL of our website, right? So what we are going to do, we are going to type in, our site, which by the way doesn't work. It's just, now right here, what we're gonna do, right? The thumbnail is basically the picture of the ad, right? If you look at this, choose an image that is at least 300 to 300 pixels. It's basically the image that represents the ad. So let me just add some random picture, which by the way is going to be the thumbnail from my Facebook page, just to tell you. And right here, we are going to write a label for our link, right? So basically, the label for our link means how we want to display the name of our website, right? So let's just say, marketing website, right? Just copy it in there. Boom. Now, right here is where you're going to write your ad copy text, right? Now, the primary text is very, very important because this is essentially what people see as a first thing, right? They don't see the picture, they see the text, right? So, what's very important is your first sentence, right? And this is why you have to hook them in. Now, in this lesson, I'm not going to be teaching you like how to actually, write good copy. Like I'm gonna teach you that in the next lessons. But for now, let's just write something random, right? So we are the best marketing agency of 2024. Here, here is why. One, two, blah blah blah, right? Now for the headline, obviously the headline again has to be punchy. I'm going to teach you how to make the headline punchy, right? For now, just write something captivating. So, the best marketing agency of 2024, right? It needs to be something short, something punchy. And then the description is basically this. It's kind of tricky, right? So, what I mean by this, the description only shows to people whose the description is irrelevant to. And like if the algorithm feels that the description is irrelevant to that kind of human being who sees it, then they will display it. And the position of the description within the hierarchy of the ad might change. So it's Facebook uses it to enhance, the effectiveness of the ad for certain people, right? So if you look at the description, yeah, they just give you this almost the same description, right? Its position may vary, right? So we generated over 120% increase in sales for fitness coaches. Uh, We did this by using the XYZ formula. Wanna be X, right? Very, very simple. Now, call to action is very, very important, right? Because whatever you select has to be relevant to it. Has actually, the call to action button has to be the action you want them to take, right? Very simple. So if we have a website, the best thing is learn more, right? Like there's millions, contact us, download, get offer. There's millions of buttons, but when you want a website visit, this is the best option, right? All right, now what you can see right here is the media crop for placements. Is basically is showing you how the ad or how the ad creative is going to look when it's displayed to your potential audience, right? Now, obviously, this is like the most terrible ad creative because I chose it only for example. But like I'm saying, you just have to create good, ad creatives that actually match, the layout. And I'll give you the best option you can do, right? So look, if you go to Canva, right, and you want to create a design, here it asks you what would you like to create. So if you click Facebook ad creative, um, do you see like all these ads, right? Facebook ad, and it gives you the layout, right? You can even like have, certain templates, like Canva gives you absolutely insane templates, and then you can simply, put them in there. It's absolutely insane, right? So just heads up because this is like the most phenomenal thing. And you can use it. It will save you a lot of time. You don't have to be graphic designer, right? Now, when we click next, we are basically ready to go. Now, here's some image animation AI feature from Facebook, which obviously, tells us that it's not compatible, which I feel like is not necessary. But yeah, and if we look, right, if we look at these enhancements, right, if you look at other active enhancements, you can add overlays, right? Which is great thing. Then you can have visual touch-ups, right? It's basically like an automatic function from Facebook to make your ads look nicer. You can also add music, right? Um, right? You can then click, and change music. Like this is absolutely unbelievable. Um, go back to enhancements. And last but not least, Facebook can also improve your text, right? Which is absolutely insane. So, yeah, this is pretty much it. After that, you're simply going to click on done, and then you can hit the publish button, and your ad will be ready to go. Now, like I've said, I'm not teaching you how to run ads and like how to be the best in ads. I'm just showing you the entire layout, actually how to understand the Facebook ad manager, right? Now as we went back to our Meta Business Suite, I just wanted to mention that you can do the same stuff with videos, carousels, we did images. You can also do plain text ads. Yeah, you can pretty much do this all sorts of things, right? You can use videos, carousels, images, text, all this sort of stuff. You can do that in the same way I did it during the walkthrough I just shown you. And with that being said, right now we are just going to go back to theory. And with this knowledge on how to actually walk through, Facebook Ad Manager and how to create ads, I'm going to give you some practical theoretical tips to keep in mind when setting up for success when it comes down to ads. Okay. So with that said, let's get right into it. All right. So let's first of all, let's just talk about how to set a budget for your campaign in the best way possible, right? So, first of all, what you want to do is that you want to calculate your monthly budget, right? Basically, just decide on the maximum you can spend per month, right? That's the first thing. Now, split that into daily or lifetime budget. Now, most people will just simply split it into daily budget, right? Which basically means if it's $500 per month, then it's going to be roughly about $16 per day, right? Now, first of all, now the next thing, what you need to do is that you need to test with small daily budgets. And also, you need to use campaign budget optimization, referred to as a CBO, right? Um, Basically, what Facebook does with this, it distributes it to the best performing ads, right? Basically, Facebook takes, your budget and based on the performance, it takes, most amount of the budget and puts it into the best performing ads so that you don't waste money, right? Very important thing. Now, if I were you, I would test with small daily budgets because if you don't have data and you just randomly throw a lot of money into advertising, it can go horribly wrong. Trust me. And like if you set $5,000 and just waste $200 every single day on something that doesn't work, trust me, guys, it's a very expensive thing, and I would not recommend anyone to do that, right? Um, so start with $5 to $10 per day, right? Don't gamble. It's not worth it. And before scaling up, you need to make sure that the ads are performing, right? And then after you do this, just simply regularly review performance, right? And most importantly, check cost per result in Ad Manager to ensure it aligns with your goals. Right now, let's just talk about choosing campaign objectives for conversions, right? And we already talked about this, but we will go over this in a little bit more detail. So, identify your primary goal as a first thing, right? So, for example, driving website purchases, collecting leads, or increasing app downloads, right? You need to have your ad objective, right? Very important. Now, obviously, if you want to get conversions, you need to select conversions as the campaign objective. And we already, went through that. So just simply select conversion as the campaign objective, right? Now, the next thing you need to do is set a specific conversion event, right? And we already did this. And basically, in the ad set, you need to select actions like purchase or add to cart because these options are designed to drive conversions to, increase your revenue, the money you made, right? Also, use the Facebook pixel to track. We are going to go over this as well in the following lessons. And if you know, basically, if um if you want to convert, then you need to send your traffic to a landing page that is going to try to sell them the thing that you're promoting, right? Because if you just randomly include an ad and you want them to buy, it's most probably not going to work. So you must, in other words, you must match the objective to your funnel, right? The entire funnel has to make sense. And then, last but not least, you need to use Facebook's learning phase, something that's called Facebook learning phase. And this basically means that the Facebook is going to learn based on your previous ads. And what you want to do is that you at least want to get 50 conversions minimum before making changes to your ad, because then the Facebook is going to adapt to whatever you're selling, and the Facebook's algorithm is going to be smarter in the future, which means then it automatically will suggest some changes, and it will, send your ads to better people, to better customers. It's going to optimize your budget better and stuff like this, right? Now, the next thing is the understanding of bidding strategies for conversions. In other words, understanding how to, how to put your budget in a way that basically understanding how much you can, bid on your ads in order to get conversion. So first things first, first thing that you need to do is to choose a bidding strategy, right? And what you're going to do is you're going to go to the ad set level and choose between lowest cost or cost cap, right? If you set a cost cap, um, that means that how, like, what is the maximum budget in order to, get the sale, right? So, if it's like, if you know that you will, like, if your product, for example, costs $20, you don't want to spend more than $10 on the conversion, because otherwise it wouldn't make financial sense, right? So that's why you set cost cap. Now, lowest cost for maximum result, right, is that Facebook will also try to be as efficient as humanly possible to get your result. And if you, set the lowest cost, it's, if you set it to $5, then the Facebook is only going to use $5 and more, right? It's never going to use like $3 to get you to your conversions, right? So you need to optimize that according to the data you gather, right? And then the next thing you need to do is to monitor return on ad spend, which is ROAS, right? You do that by using the breakdown tab in Ad Manager to track ROAS and ensure profitability. Now, the next thing that you're going to do is that you're going to adjust based on data, right? Now, the next thing we're going to discuss is success with budgets and objectives. And now, what I mean by this, like, we are going to talk about how to be as successful as humanly possible while spending as less as humanly possible, right? So, first of all, in order to really get specific data, you need to set up your Facebook pixel and then install the pixel on your websites to track conversions accurately. Now, we are going to go over it in the following lessons, but I'm just going to mention it right here. Next thing is A/B testing. And what A/B testing means is that you essentially have, two variations of the same ad. However, one ad is, for example, plain text, and the second ad is video. And like the text is same, right? The script is the same. The person tells the same story. But, in the first ad, it's just, a text. In the second ad, it's a video. Or with the A/B testing, it would also be two completely different ads, right? So it could be, both of them could be text ads, right? But some of them could be like a story, right? And the second one could be, just quick, five bullet points on what your service or what your product does. And then based on the A/B testing, you decide which one, or you let the market decide which one performs the best, and then you decide, right? It's no blind, guessing. The next thing you should do is you should analyze performance metrics, right? We already talked about it. Focus on CPR, ROAS, click-through rate to identify strengths and weaknesses. And like I've said, you are going to find that in your Facebook Ads Manager, right? Now, the next thing you should do is to retarget warm audiences. And regarding the retargeting, you need to use retargeting campaigns for users who visited your website or added items to their cart, right? The thing that you do with retargeting is you simply want to juice out or squeeze out as much profit out of already existing customers as possible, right? Because they already know you, they already trust you, they already bought from you, so why not do that again? And you do that by retargeting, right? Last thing but not least, scale successful campaigns, right? Because you need to double down on what works and you need to remove what doesn't. Very simple. These are the basics, and honestly, many people talk about it, but not many people do this, right? Now, here are some of the key performance indicators to aim for. And if I were you, I would just write these down because this is very important, right? So, with cost per result, you should aim for up to $1 for leads and anywhere from $5 to $15 for purchases. Again, it depends on your industry. You need to do your research, but you get it, right? Click-through rate, a good CTR is above 1%. Higher CTRs indicate engaging ads. Now, the conversion rate, target 2% to 5% for e-commerce. High rates mean your landing page is effective, right? With ROAS, aim for ROAS of 3x or higher. Example, spend $100, earn $300. And frequency, keep frequency below 3 to avoid audience fatigue. Now, for the conclusion, right? What we learned in this lesson, because this was big lesson, juicy lesson, a lot of new material, right? So, first of all, success in Facebook ads comes from clear objectives, smart budgeting, and ongoing testing. Start with small budget, use data to guide decisions, and refine strategies over time. Track your KPIs closely to ensure you're meeting your goals. And apply these steps to maximize conversions and get the most from your ad spend. All right, guys. So in this lesson, we have actually covered how to navigate through the entire Facebook Ads Manager in order to generate the best results, possible for your business. And the last thing I'll just tell you is that just make sure that you, as a student, go through this entire lesson multiple times, not just once, but multiple times. The reason is very simple. You have to get a full understanding of all the details and nuances that are included into this lesson. And by the way, there's a lot of them. And obviously, you're not going to get them, at the first sight. So, for that reason, please, after you go through this entire course, make sure you especially check out this lesson multiple times. And with that being said, let's get right into the next lesson.